Yo, what is going on, everybody? It is Team Millie here, bringing you some more information on the College Football 25 video game that will be out in just a few days, man. We are so close to that early release on Tuesday, man. Very excited and looking forward to that. So make sure you hit that like button if you're excited as well, and subscribe to the channel if you are new to make sure you're on the lookout next week, as I will be streaming a few times throughout the week and making plenty of videos as we will be diving in to, Road to Glory and Dynasty and all sorts of other things. Just very excited to finally have college football back here. But let's go ahead and get into it, man. We got the Road to Glory blog post or article, whatever you want to call it, today. And, man, it was a lot more information in there than I thought. Of course, we already went over a lot of this stuff a few weeks ago, but we definitely have way more information that's more concrete now, where we had to speculate on a lot of this stuff earlier on. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in, man. We'll go ahead and go through this article. Try to go through it as fast as I can, man, but like I said, it's a lot more information than I expected, and a lot of different screenshots to go over. So looking forward to it. Let's get into it. So in creating Road to Glory, their goal was clear: to create an authentic, engaging, and replayable experience that captures the essence of being a college athlete. So with this vision, they anchored the mode around 4 core pillars: live the life of a college athlete, week-to-week experience, fast to fun and highly replayable, and then a foundation for the future. So the first one there, live the life of a college athlete, all about immersion. From the excitement of game day to the challenges of balancing academics and athletics, every aspect of a college athlete's life is brought to you. Your journey will be filled with highs and lows, triumphs and setbacks, mirroring the real experiences of student athletes. So definitely love to hear that there, man. You'll be able to kind of steer this a certain way, depending on what kind of story you're going for, what kind of, player you have created. You'll be able to, steer this in a certain way, depending on, which activities you focus on throughout, your weekly activities and whatnot. So more on that, man. Week-to-week experience here and Road to Glory. Every decision matters. We've designed the experience to revolve around key in-game decisions and time management. Whether it's choosing how to spend your time between practice, studying, and social activities, or making critical plays on the field, your choices will shape your path to glory. We drew inspiration from story-driven games where meaningful decisions with no clear right answers helped shape your journey. The way you respond to situations will ultimately decide your path. Fast to fun and highly replayable, Road to Glory, designed to be fast-paced and fun, ensuring that you're always in the thick of the action with multiple storylines and pathways to explore. Each playthrough offers a unique and fresh experience. So, of course, with that, we'll, go over that a little more here in a few moments when we talk about the different pathways you can go over, which I, of course, touched on a few weeks ago, but we have, a lot more to dive in with them now. And then the last pillar here, the foundation for the future, says Road to Glory is not just about the here and now, it's about building a lasting legacy. This year lays the groundwork for the future and enhancements, ensuring that your journey as a college athlete continues to evolve and improve. Your decisions will ultimately shape your journey, your story, and your road to glory. So love to hear that nice introduction there. And, it's all sounding good to me. And, of course, we'll go, over a few more of those things as we tie those in to the different points that they make here going forward. Of course, foundation for the future. There's a few things, of course, we want more positions to be available. Maybe bring the high school back into it, at least in some sort of way. Or maybe, they give us some sort of 7-on-7 drills that we can play or do, or go to some camps or something at least before, getting to college. But like I said, we'll, dive more into that as we go over each of these details, man. So starting off with your creation, we already knew this, that you're pretty much going to select how you start with your overall being at, a certain spot, and, picking your stars, whether you're a 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, or 2-star. But it's nice here to see that they actually, gave each one a different name. So starting off with Elite, this will be the 5-star prospect, which you'll be starting with the highest possible overall rating of a 79. And this player is expected to get on the field immediately and start right away at most programs, which I don't know if I would take that too much into account. If you're starting at 79, depending on what position you are and where you go, there's a lot of programs where you're probably not going to start right away. Now, you might be able to get some playing time, of course, but starting right away, I don't know, man. It Depends on which school you go to, but either way, you should still be able to, your track to starting will be much, much quicker at this elite startup point than any of the other ones, of course. And then additionally, you will receive 1 extra mental ability to start with and 5 starting skill points, which you use to upgrade your player, of course. Next one's Blue Chip. That'll be the 4-star prospect, and you'll start at a 75 overall, along with 1 mental ability and just 4 skill points here. This player will be able to contribute immediately to most programs and earn significant playing time at some schools. And next up, you got Contributor, the 3-star prospect, who may have the chance to get on the field earlier in the career, but will have to work hard for the playing time. And they do not get the additional mental ability to start with, and will have just 3 skill points. And I will mention here with Contributor in the article, it doesn't list the overall there, but here in this graphic it shows under Contributor, it shows 67 overall. So I'm not sure if they just messed up and didn't put that in the article, or maybe the 3 stars a little bit more of a range. Maybe you could start lower at maybe 65 or start a little higher at 69 or 70. But in the graphics it shows 67, so that's probably the base. But like I said, it could be different depending on position, archetype, and stuff like that. And the final startup point possible here is the Underdog. Of course, this would be the 2-star, which can't go as low as 1 star, but not much of a difference once you get that low, especially when we're talking in this game. As here, you will be starting as a 60 overall, and you'll receive just 2 skill points to start. But of course, this will be, the hardest story to go with, and you'll have to earn every snap on the field, man. So yeah, like I said, man, lots of different ways you can go with this stuff. Like, not only can you choose a lower star or higher star, but you could also go to a school where it'll be easier to start right away or possibly harder to start right away. Now, I'm not going to just reveal my complete plans for my initial Road to Glory series, as if you didn't know, that's going to be a main component to this channel going forward. It's going to be super heavy on Road to Glory, and still going to, have some Dynasty stuff too, so don't worry if you're a Dynasty fan. I'll still have some stuff with that. But going super heavy on Road to Glory, so I will probably at some point try an Underdog story, but that will probably be later on in the year. Other than that, though, my first one will be a running back. If you didn't see the trailer for that, I did upload a little teaser trailer for that the other day, so make sure you check that out if you missed it. But I will say, the running back's definitely either going to be a blue chip or an elite prospect. And then when I end up doing my wide receiver, it will probably be possibly a contributor, maybe blue chip, but not going to reveal complete plans yet. I mean, we're just a week away from seeing the introductions to those series, folks, so definitely excited to see that. So, of course, after you choose your little pathway there, you'll choose your position. Now, of course, like I said, man, I wish we had more options here, but at least it's a solid starting base here, as you can play quarterback, running back, or receiver on offense, and then defensively you could play middle linebacker or corner. So like I said, man, hopefully in the future we get more positions added, but not a huge deal here for year 1. But definitely would love to have some more freedom going forward, because I'd prefer, if I do a defensive player, I'd like to, play safety if I'm in the secondary, or if I'm up in the box, I'd prefer to, be an edge rusher. But either way, we might try out a defensive player at some point. We'll be testing out all sorts of stuff when the game first comes out too as well, of course. But either way, those are the positions you can pick from. And based on that, you'll choose an archetype, and that'll affect your starting attributes and your skill group caps, as well as which physical abilities are available to you. So for example, a field general quarterback is going to be a better passer in the pocket than a scrambling quarterback, which that's quite obvious. And the field general will also have access to abilities like sleight of hand, step up, resistance, dot, and pull down. You see those physical abilities there in that graphic. And feel free to pause and read the descriptions of each if you feel the need to do so. You also see, like the ratings and stats that you'll start with. So I'm sure once you go to Scrambler and Improviser, it'll show the differences there, of course. It tells us here the Scrambler archetype will have access to abilities like Option King, which will give you an aggressive boost to quick pitches, and the off-platform ability, which improves your accuracy for cross-body or back foot throws. So that's nice. So next up you have the customization of the player, of course, and nowadays we have a lot more options than we used to back in the day. Not that we didn't have a lot of options, man. I mean, you could customize a lot of different things in the college game back then. I mean, we're talking different colored arm sleeves, different length sleeves on each side, you know, the arm bands on the calf band, all sorts of stuff, man. But there's a lot of different stuff in this game, including the crop top jersey style. They have the different sock styles, and you can also do the hoodies underneath the jerseys now. You also choose, your hometown, home state, all that good stuff, jersey number. Next, you'll choose your starting mental ability. Every position and journey will always have 3 core mental abilities tied to your weekly agenda meters. So each of those core mental abilities will have an activation and deactivation requirement. Starting with fan favorite, this ability increases composure gains at home. So this is tied to your academics if your GPA stays above a 3.0. The fan favorite ability will stay active. If it falls below that 3.0, then it will be deactivated. So it would be nice to have this, for the home games. I wouldn't be too worried about composure as long as your rating is good enough. But either way, it would still be nice to have that fan favorite get activated. Now, I think this one here will be a little more important, Road Dog. So this, of course, will increase your composure gains on the road instead of at home. So this one I think is a lot more important. This one will be tied to your brand meter, which, of course, your brand exposure rating is where the NIL is tied into this mode. But you will have, different chances to, choose different activities throughout each week to, get that brand better. So along that brand meter, eventually you'll reach influencer status, which once you reach that, you will then have that Road Dog turned on. And then if your brand then falls off and then you fall below the influencer status bar, then the Road Dog will turn off. So I wonder how hard or easy it'll be to, stay above that influencer status bar once you get there. I'm sure it'll be different, depending on certain, attributes maybe or abilities, depending on, archetypes that you choose. But, just reading this, it seems like this might be one that's kind of easy to leave on, which would be really nice, man, because increasing them composure gains on the road will definitely be big time, man, especially if you're playing in them tough environments. Last one here is Clear-Headed. This ability limits the amount of composure you will lose during gameplay. It is tied to your leadership, so when you become an excellent leader, it will turn on, and when it falls below that threshold, it will turn off. So I'm guessing that this, again, along with the different things like your GPA, your brand meter, coaches trust stuff, and then here leadership, I'm sure will be another category where you have some sort of meter or just something that measures your leadership status, on the squad. So if it falls below that excellent leader threshold, then, the clear-headed mental ability will turn off. So remember, if you choose that 4 or 5-star prospect, the elite or blue chip journeys, you will be able to select an additional mental ability at the beginning, and this will grant you a 4th ability that is in addition to your 3 core main mental abilities that we had just went over, and it is not tied to a weekly agenda meter, and it will always be activated. So that's nice. And that extra ability that you choose from will be based on your position. So it looks like one of the options for the field general quarterback for that extra mental ability will be the field general mental ability. So that makes sense to choose that there if that's, the archetype you go with. I'm sure, when the game comes out, we'll dive in and we'll look at all this stuff and test out different ones and see all the options we have. So next, you can kind of take some of this stuff from all the recruiting stuff that we went over earlier in the week, but now, you're on the other side. So instead of, finding out an ideal pitch for a recruit, you are now the recruit, and you are going to kind of put your ideal pitch out there through an interview with a local TV reporter at the beginning here. So basically, you'll be asked some questions, and the answers you give will basically formulate your own ideal pitch. So you'll give some answers talking about whether you're looking for NIL opportunities, playing time earlier in your career, a good coach, a good conference to play in, stuff like that, or being close to home, different stuff like that will be some answers that you can give to these questions that you get here. Your answers to these questions will determine the schools that align with your goals and values, creating a more personalized and engaging recruiting experience. You'll go to signing day after that interview, and of course that's the big day where you'll decide to start your career with. Now remember, we'll go a little more over this in a little bit, but it's not like you're going to have to play your whole career here, man, so don't forget that the transfer portal will be an option later in your career. But of course here, signing day, this is where you will initially start your college career. Checking out this graphic, you can check out each team based on the interest level and whatnot. It'll show you, how the team did the last season, the offensive and defensive scheme, what conference they're in. You'll also see some coaching information there, the head coach's name, their archetype, how secure their job is, their prestige, all that sort of stuff. They'd actually tell you how the NIL opportunities are there, all sorts of different stuff, the depth chart at your position, and all sorts of stuff here. So it's a good graphic, the team prestige, all that good stuff. And it'll tell you, projected role there, starter. That's nice to see. Remember the kind of example that they've been giving us along here is with one of the 5-star journeys. So, of course, each week things are going to be different, man. You're going to want to attack different activities. But first things first, when you start, you're going to want to go to practice, man. That's where you're going to earn that coach trust, which is essential for improving your spot on the depth chart. So, of course, if you're already starting, you might not have to worry about that as much. But if your backup is right there on your heels, man, you're going to have to make sure you are out there performing well, or they're going to be able to trigger one of those position battles and they'll be able to try to take your spot, man. So make sure you're doing good, even if you start off as a starter right away. Coach trust is going to be important regardless. I'm sure as you earn more coach trust over time, you'll be able to unlock some different things that will help boost your gameplay. So practice will always be there, man, and then after that you will set your weekly agenda, and this is where you will choose different things, whether it be going to class, studying for a test, or doing things to try to build your brand off the field with like different NIL stuff. Of course, you got to remember to always keep track of all that stuff. You're going to want to be attacking all the different categories, man, because it's not like you just want to go all into your brand, because then your GPA is going to fall too low and then all of a sudden you'll be ineligible to play, which that is an option in this game. You could definitely become ineligible, so don't think that you can just not go to class and only focus on that brand. But at the same time, you still are going to want to do the brand. It's not like you want to be a 4.0 student and then not touch your brand at all and not be able to get the different abilities that are tied to brand, which remember, you're going to need that for the road dog mental ability. Got to keep it above that influencer status on that bar. So a little bit more on practice here. It looks like there's a couple different categories in the Road to Glory practice hub screen here. So there's a few different options under team, and then there's also a skill tab, which I'm not sure what's under there. But it sounds like you just do one drill each week, and then, based on which one you pick, you'll get different coach's trust depending on if you earn bronze, silver, or gold. Bronze will give you plus 200, silver's plus 350, and gold is plus 500. So this is big time, man. You're definitely going to want to make sure that you're not slacking in practice. So that way you make sure you get on that field, and then once you're on the field, make sure you stay on it. So of course you'll get to choose which minigame you play each week, and a little bit more on the two different categories. So in the team one, it says these involve more than just your player and require you to work together with your teammates. An example of a team minigame is the pass skeleton game, where you will play 5v5 against the defense. This is pretty typical here. And then the skill minigames, these are more focused on your individual player skills. For example, the pocket presence minigame involves you dodging projectiles and hitting targets at the same time. So that's pretty cool. That's a couple different ways to go about practice. So that way, it's not like the same drill over and over. But, I'm sure after a while we'll all find, the certain ones that are easier. And, we want to make sure that we're getting that coach trust every time we go out there, man. I am interested to see if it possibly affects different attributes. Of course, like in Madden, if you watch my wide receiver superstar mode at all, I don't show it always, but I always did like the mini game that would help the release, because it was, other than that, for receiver, the ones were for, I believe, like your spectacular catch or catching traffic, which in the game it felt like those didn't help as much. Where getting the boost to my release definitely felt like it was a big help. So I'm sure, if there are attributes tied to certain mini games as well, that will also be important with which one you choose each week. But at the end of the day, man, as long as you're getting that coach trust up, you should be good to go. And you also have the option to simulate that mini game if you don't feel like doing them every week as well. So it sounds like you'll actually not really need to do this practice too often, because it sounds like once you hit that gold at least once, you can just simulate that same drill each time and just get gold every time. So whatever the highest medal you have is what they'll give you when you decide to simulate. So yeah, it sounds like, just if anything, probably just play through as many of them as you can and get gold in all of them. And then by the time, you hit your second season, you'll probably always be able to simulate that practice. I'm definitely going to be doing, the practice at first, trying out all the different mini games that you can play, checking out, seeing, the different ones under the skill category for different positions, because of course that'll be different depending on, quarterbacks and running backs obviously are going to be doing different skill, activities. So here's a little bit more on how we are managing that time off the field. So here it says by default you will have 5 energy points. That's what is going to represent how you manage your time. They're going by, energy. So you have 5 energy points to spend each week. In a short week, if you play on a Thursday, you'll have just 4 energy points to spend. And then say if you have a bye week, you'll actually have an extra point and have 6 points since you have more free time there. Each week you will have to juggle your time between these activities, and it will be very difficult to keep each one in good standing. Balancing these activities will be key to becoming a well-rounded and successful student athlete. So your time will be split up between these 5 different key activities here: academics, leadership, health, training, and brand. Each activity is represented as a meter and comes with its own set of pros and cons. Starting with academics, you got focusing on your studies will help you maintain your GPA, which is crucial for staying eligible. So like I said earlier, of course, if you just completely don't touch the academics at all, you will literally have your GPA fall so much that you will literally not even be able to play. So just make sure you put at least a little bit of time into it, man. But of course, remember, it also matters for being able to get that mental ability activated for when you're at home, that fan favorite ability, man. So remember, you got to stay above a 3.0 if you want to have that active to help your composure in them home games. Next one's leadership. Spending time on this will help you earn respect and trust from your teammates and coaches, potentially leading to a leadership role on the team. Definitely quarterbacks going to want to, spend some time on this for sure. And then if you're on the defensive side of the ball, probably more important for a middle linebacker than it would be for a corner. But at the same time, leaders can be anywhere on the field, man. Next up, you got health. Prioritize this to help you stay injury-free and maintain peak physical condition, which is essential for consistent performance. Now remember, this will tie into the new wear and tear system, of course. In this game, we'll definitely have to see how that works out, and hopefully there are some abilities and different stuff in the game that you can earn to, help with that. And you will have the toughness attribute in the game. That rating will basically gauge how well your player will be able to adhere to different, damages to that wear and tear, different spots of their body. If you get some abilities or have a higher rating, you'll be able to, maintain your body a little bit better. Next up, you got training. Extra training sessions will help improve your physical attributes and skills, giving you an edge over your competition. So I'm sure that sometimes this may give you like weekly boost in game or possibly, career time boost. And of course, lastly, you end with brand. This is where the NIL endorsements and other off the field benefits are tied in here with this. And remember, you got to work on your brand and keep your status above that influencer level, so that way you can have the road dog mental ability active to keep your composure better in them road games. Taking a look more at the academics here, there's a couple different things here. You have the test readiness and GPA. That's the two key components. So for test readiness, each week by spending time on academics, you'll be studying and improving your test readiness. So this is essential for performing well on midterm exams. If your test readiness is low, your likelihood of failing a midterm is increased. So you want to make sure you don't fail on midterms, because that could definitely kill your GPA and risk your eligibility, man. And then GPA, of course, is a reflection of your academic performance and is influenced by the results of your exams and quizzes. So not only will you have those midterm exams and then probably a final at some point, but it sounds like quizzes will be implemented throughout your season as well. So make sure that you put in enough energy time or energy points, whatever you want to call it, to the academics there. So that way you are ready for these tests and quizzes when they come up, man. So that way, you do well on them. So for example, in this graphic you see here, it shows that currently this player is unprepared. They do have a 3.4 GPA at this point, but they shouldn't be too worried about being unprepared at this time, because the exam, as you can see, it shows that is in 5 weeks. So you still have 5 weeks to try to put some time in to at least get you up to that basic preparedness there. I mean, you don't got to be super prepared, I guess, but you probably at least want to get to the basic part there. If you are unprepared, there's a chance that you end up bombing that exam, man. So you can manage some other things here in this weekly agenda screen, of course, seeing the meters for your other categories like brand, the training, the health, and the leadership. So it's a good, nice graphic and showing of how, you can keep progress of each thing there each week. And of course, there's another tab there, Coach Trust. Looks like you'll be able to check that out there in the screen. It also mentions here that the midterms will occur during week 8 and week 15 of the regular season. So you got to make sure you keep that GPA above that 2.0 to stay eligible. If you go below a 2.0, then you're not going to be able to play in games anymore. You'll still be able to do all your weekly stuff, but you'll definitely have to attend some study hall sessions that they'll actually become mandatory at that time to help improve that GPA. And once it gets back up, that's when you will then become eligible again. So yeah, that is wild. Of course, there is storylines that come with this. If that's a certain story that you want to do with your character, you could make them be a complete shitbird the first couple of years of their career. Then maybe transfer out for year 3, and a change of scenery makes you click in, and now all of a sudden, boom, you're studying, getting better grades, and being able to get on the field. So actually a little more on quizzes here. This is not going to utilize the test readiness meter there. So instead, for the quizzes, you will be asked how much you want to study for each one. So you'll consume a set amount of energy for that week when a quiz pops up. Quizzes serve as additional checkpoints to ensure that you are keeping up with your academic responsibilities. So, that's smart to have, along the way, just in case, you might forget about it. So, they have nice little reminders to get them quizzes in there. Like, oh yeah, let me make sure I'm dialed in the classroom. It also mentions here that, the fan favorite mental ability that I've mentioned a few times now, got to keep it above a 3.0. And then also a weekly Coach Trust bonus. This is key. I like this a lot. Your GPA will also affect your weekly Coach Trust bonus. So of course, a higher GPA will result in a positive bonus, while a lower GPA will incur a negative bonus. So, heck, man, this GPA is affecting multiple things, man. So make sure you stay on top of it. Next category, the leadership, man. Check out this graphic. Looks like it's got 4 tiers. Of course, you start low, then go to medium, high, and excellent. So, of course, this quarterback here with South Carolina is all the way up to excellent for the leadership. And you see here it lists some passive impacts. It shows coach trust, team XP, composure, and clear-headed. Leadership also will be tied into the coach trust there. So, of course, if you have a higher leadership rating here, you'll get a higher bonus from the coach trust. So, I mean, heck, you're really going to have to dial in and try to keep all this stuff up to date, man. That way you're getting the best coach trust bonuses you can get, man. And this is key as well here. Your leadership also significantly impacts how fast your teammates progress. A strong leader acts as a force multiplier, making your teammates better every day and helping them achieve their full potential. On the other hand, poor leadership can drag your teammates down, resulting in less than 100% XP for them. Leadership also affects your team's starting composure, so a good leader can rally the team and get everyone pumped up for a big game, ensuring high team morale and readiness. Where on the other hand, if you are lower on that leadership, a negative energy force can bring the team down, negatively affecting their composure and performance. So once you reach that excellent leadership status, you will activate that clear-headed ability. Remember, we mentioned that a bit earlier. That is that third of those 3 core mental abilities. Next up, we got health, like I said, tied into that wear and tear. When you check out this screen here, it will show you that risk of injury here. And for this player at this time, it shows that it is increased, as they have some slight little wear and tear there to the left leg and the right arm. So, of course, being a quarterback, you don't want to have anything wrong with that right arm, man. Throwing arm, you see it gives them a minus to the medium accuracy. And it looks like throw on the run and throw power as well, getting minuses. And then for the leg, they get minuses for speed, throw on the run, and throw power. And this is quite significant, man, because those are just the first light, and that's some pretty significant drops in those ratings, man. So imagine if you're more towards the higher severe side of things with the wear and tear. Those ratings are really going to get shot down. But I'm sure if you hit that severe part at that time, they might consider, giving you a week off, man. So depending on what it is. So it'll be interesting to see how different wear and tears on different parts of the body for different positions will impact, playability, and, if they keep you out for injuries and stuff like that, how often that will happen. So we'll have to see. So, of course, to help maintain that good health, man, you got to use those energy points each week, throw it into this category, and you should see the wear and tear actually improve as long as you are putting some time into it, man. Because if not, that stuff will linger, week by week. Eventually, that stuff will go from the lighter edge to being, high or severe. So make sure you're putting some time into that health, so that way you're able to go out there each week and continue to grind and, get all the plays in. You don't want to be off the field at all. One last thing to mention on health. If you do get to, the end of your weekly activities and you still have some energy that was unspent, if you advance, it will actually automatically apply that unspent energy to the health. So if anything, you can probably just use your first few points, and then if you want to throw some in health, you can just advance at that point and not even go into it. Fourth category here is the training one, of course. So basically this bar here will show you your progress to earning your next skill point, and it'll go by the XP, of course. So depending on how much XP you have and how highly rated you are, I'm sure you will need more XP each time that you earn a skill point. But at the beginning, it'll probably be somewhat easy to get these skill points. But later on, I'm sure once you're higher overall, it might be a little bit more of a grind to earn those skill points to be able to upgrade more. So when you choose this training, man, you're going to have to try to make sure you keep this balanced out, as this will actually incur a small amount of wear and tear damage when you decide to train. So it's nice getting that XP, man, but will reduce your health just a little bit. So like I said, man, you'll just have to, continue to check throughout each week and make sure that you are maintaining each category the best that you can. And of course, the last category is brand. Building a strong brand can open up numerous opportunities and benefits. You'll have the opportunity to grow your brand and potentially become a global phenom. Your brand is represented by the number of followers you have. The more followers you gain, the higher your brand level becomes. So taking a look at the graphic, you will start near that local hero status and then increase that up to influencer. Remember, you have to stay above that influencer status to be able to have that road dog mental ability for them road games. That way you're able to keep your composure up the best you can on the road. So make sure you stay above that influencer level there. But even after that, you hit the superstar level, and then, like I said there, you finish off as a global phenom. And with each level you hit there, it looks like it will open up a new NIL slot for you. So once reach the amount of fans that you need, 250K to get that superstar, you'll get that third NIL slot open. And once you hit the million fans, that fourth NIL spot will be open for you there as a global phenom. So in your weekly agenda, when you decide to go into your brand stuff, you will perform the socialize action, which will increase the number of followers you have each time you do that action, as well as your engagement meter. And of course, the higher you are able to get that engagement meter, the more likely it is that you will go viral and be able to get that bar to increase even quicker and get that follower number up. So along your journey, you're actually going to encounter some unexpected scenarios and dilemmas that will add complexity and excitement to your own experience. So these things will trigger based on the decisions that you make and how you spend your time off the field. So they can involve interactions with teammates, advisors, other students on campus, NIL deals, or some other fun surprises that keep your journey dynamic and engaging. I can already see it now, man. Once you get a couple years in, I'm sure one of the NIL deal things that will pop up is maybe you'll have a chance to be, the next cover athlete for the next college football video game. That's got to be one that's in the game, right? You got to think. When faced with a new dilemma, there is no right or wrong answer. How you choose to respond will ultimately shape your journey. Your decisions will determine how these scenarios impact your various meters such as health, brand, and the coach's trust. Some dilemmas will present actual conflicts, such as being asked to attend an off-campus party. Okay, we're going to the goat house with it, all right. If you know, you know. Attending the party could increase your brand by boosting your social presence, but it may also require you to skip your night class. There is a risk associated with this decision. Getting caught skipping class could negatively affect your GPA, which might affect your academic standing and eligibility. There might also be situations where you are playing poorly and the fans are just letting you have it. You'll have to make a decision on how you want to respond. Do you want to take the high road, criticize them, make a burner, and be your biggest hype man? Oh goodness, there's going to be all sorts of different ways you can go with these different storylines that they pop up for you. So navigating these scenarios and dilemmas requires careful consideration of the potential benefits and risks. So each decision you make will contribute to your unique story and influence your journey as a student athlete. So checking out a couple screenshots here, you see a defensive tackle hits you up and says, "You want to drive together to our morning government class this week? Gotta love these 8:30 a.m. lectures." So you can either agree to drive together or you can say sleep in and skip class. Which of course, like I said, if you want to, run a story the way you want it, of course it would make sense to just, agree to drive together, make sure you keep that GPA up. But like I said, you could be going for that storyline where, you're a troublemaker early on and, maybe you're skipping class, man. So take that decision as you see there if you choose that. It says sleeping in. So getting extra rest always helps. Your back and rib wear and tear have improved by 3. So of course, choosing that will of course actually help some stuff as your wear and tear gets a little boost. And I'm sure your health will go up a little bit as well. But it will negatively impact that GPA most likely. Will go down a little bit there. Or even if it don't take your GPA down, maybe it will take down that test readiness meter. As you can see here, it actually pops up. Your academic advisor, I got alerted you missed your 8:30 government class. Well, you not only missed class, you missed a pop quiz. I suggest showing up next time. So the fact that there was a pop quiz at that time as well, that probably will affect your GPA. So maybe if you miss class and there's a pop quiz, maybe that will, get the GPA right away. Now, if you miss class and there wasn't a quiz, maybe that'll just take down your test readiness a bit. Who knows? Maybe they're tied together. Maybe it's a little different depending on the situation. But definitely cool to see this scenario pop up. As you see here, actually it shows you the GPA decrease. Your GPA is taking a big hit. So actually based off this, it says it's a big hit. So I'm sure, depending on different situations that you go over, some things may increase or decrease this stuff at a higher rate than the other stuff, or it might be just a minor change where this one sounds like it's a big hit. Man, I'd like to dive into the game next week and be able to test this out and see how much it actually will hurt it. Diving in some more on the NIL, which it seems like it's actually going to be a little more detailed than I thought, which is awesome to see. So of course, to be offered an NIL deal, you must have an open slot, which is determined by your brand level, like that screenshot I showed earlier. Each time you tier up to a different level on that brand meter, you will open up a new deal, so you can get up to 4 different deals. So each deal will actually run for a different amount of time, and an energy cost will be associated with them, as they will require some of your time. So you're going to have to remember when you agree to do these that you may have to do some stuff in that weekly agenda screen to then, go through with the NIL deals. So not only are you earning the deals, then you actually have to spend the time to follow through with those. So then you'll probably earn more fans and get that brand rating up higher. Accepting NIL deals will come with rewards, which can be provided up front, weekly, or at the conclusion of the deal. So these will be either gameplay bonuses or off-field bonuses. So gameplay, of course, says it'll be improvements to your in-game attributes, such as enhanced catching ability, increased speed, or better stamina. And I'm sure, these will probably only last while you have the NIL deal going on, because of course these deals won't just stay there forever, and you'll get different ones that pop up that you can agree to throughout your career. And then for off-field bonuses, these enhancements will be to one of your meters, such as increasing your number of followers, boosting your coach trust, or improving your health. So it's definitely awesome to see they are, making sure everything is covered when you are agreeing to these deals. So once you hit that global phenom tier and you have all 4 slots available, you'll be able to get deals to help with everything. So here's an example they'll give us here. An NIL deal you could earn is with a physical therapy center. So as part of their deal, they want you to participate in a regional commercial shoot that will air during the next month. So this deal will cost you 2 energy up front. In return, they will give you free physical therapy sessions, which will give you immediate wear and tear recovery and improve your health. So of course, yes, it takes 2 energy up front, but since they'll be giving you those free physical therapy sessions, you then will be able to improve your health and wear and tear without using energy points going forward while you have this deal. Of course, it's not going to last forever, but while you have the deal, you'll have that each week for free, not having to use those energy points. So the 2 up front is nothing. So these NIL deals are definitely going to be very important, man. You're going to have to make sure that you are accepting the right deals that are going to benefit you the best. Check out this screenshot here. Here's another NIL opportunity, another example they give us. Looks like a sporting goods store. Says something about you and some other players to come for a meet and greet over the span of a couple of days, this and next week. Afterward, we'd like you to sign some autographs. It should help increase your local following and bring new people to our business. This is our proposal for a 2-week contract. For the cost of 1 energy per week, you'll receive plus 500 followers each week of the contract. So, of course, depending on where you're at in your career, you can gauge whether this is a good deal for you or not. I don't think it's like great or terrible, but of course, we haven't actually had our hands on this and gotten into the game, so I don't know how hard it is to actually gain these followers. I don't think this is that bad, because then, once you take this deal, instead of, actually choosing that stuff during the week, you're automatically going to, have the one energy going off for the plus 500 followers guaranteed for those next 2 weeks. So I've talked a lot about Coach Trust already and how important it is, so I'm not going to go over too much of the info they give us here. I mean, Coach Trust is something that's been part of our games for quite some time, so it's pretty much the same system. I will at least show you this graphic here. It looks awesome, man. You love to see it. So you see not only where the starter's at, but you see the backup here as Jack Anderson for Auburn here. Looks like for this option they went with a 75 overall. They went with that blue chip 4-star quarterback. So it shows you where the starter is at on the bar as well. So you pretty much know how much progress you're going to have to make to be able to trigger one of those position battles. I'll throw a few other screenshots up as well that you will see when you are able to trigger these position battles and then go on to win them and, earn that QB1 spot you see here. And a little bit more on the position battles, as they are just a little bit different now than what we're used to back in the day. You'll be tasked with winning 2 out of 3 position-specific mini-games. So, for example, if you're a quarterback, in this scenario, you might find yourself playing the option attack. It's all about showcasing your skills under pressure. But here's the catch. If you lose the position battle, you'll need to climb back up the ladder over the next few weeks before you get another shot at challenging your teammate. On the flip side, winning the position battle gives you a sweet bump in Coach Trust, boosting your position on the depth chart. Just keep in mind, though, that CPU teammates could also, gain more trust throughout the season and then challenge you in a position battle. So as you can see there in the screenshots, like I mentioned, you see of the 3 different ones, King on the left there won the option attack and won the pass skeleton, where Sellers on the right there just won the scramble survive drill. So King, winning 2 out of the 3 there, was able to give him the win and bump him up to that QB1 spot. So instead of upgrading each attribute individually, there's actually going to be skill groups. So these skill groups will be a collection of related attributes, of course. So you got the quarterback power skill group will include the throw power and strength. Every skill group can reach a maximum level of 10. So of course, when you create your player and you choose the archetype, it shows you where these will start at the beginning of your career. So, depending on, how many bars there are there. Some of the categories you are not going to be able to max out, as you can see in the screenshot there on the route running for this player and the power. There's either, 1 spot or a few there that are grayed out. So you can't always, max out the 10 spots for all of the categories. Once a skill group reaches its cap, it cannot be upgraded further unless your coach possesses the Architect archetype along with Limitless or Put a Ring on It abilities. The Limitless ability offers a chance to increase a random skill cap each time your character levels up, while the Put a Ring on It ability provides a chance to raise your highest skill cap after winning a conference or national championship. So that is very key right there. You have to keep an eye on that. Depending on which coach you have, man, if you'll be able to even capitalize off of that. They have some stuff here on the mental and physical abilities, which I've talked plenty about already, so I'm not going to go too deep into this. Now, you are going to have to use skill points when you want to upgrade these abilities. So, of course, they're tiered like before, bronze, silver, gold. So, you'll have to, use different points depending on which tier it is. There'll probably be less points when you're at bronze, and then, there'll probably be more points to upgrade it to silver, and then more to upgrade it to gold. And you'll also have to do certain things to even be able to do that. Like in the game, for example, if you're a running back, having the 360 for, improved juke moves, you might have to have, your spin move is going to have to be a certain rating. And then you might have to break a certain amount of tackles in a game or have a certain amount of touchdowns or a certain amount of carries that are, of 20 plus yards or something like that, for example, to then be able to trigger, that next tier or something like that. But yeah, you can read it for yourself if you want. I've already went over these abilities so much that we'll get past it. They do mention here that you have, of course, the different camera views like we had introduced to us in the last year or two, where we had, the standard, the zoomed one, or the wide camera. So you'll be able to change these in the game by hitting up and down on the D-pad. So for play calling, it seems like it's going to be a little bit similar to back in the day. At the beginning, you'll be limited to play calling, man, just getting the one call from the coach. So throughout your career, as you gain coach's trust, you'll earn the ability to change the play. So depending on which tier you're at for your coach's trust, you'll have a different amount of play changes for each game. You see in this screenshot here, it shows 5. So you can trigger that and get a couple more plays to choose from there a few times throughout the game. Now, I'm sure, depending on your coach trust, you might only start out with being able to do this 3 times, then go to 5, then maybe 8, and then 10, or something like that, for example. And once you get to the line of scrimmage, you are not going to be able to change the play through audibles, but you will be able to make the pre-snap adjustments using hot routes and stuff like that. Pretty much wrapping things up here, just a little bit more on the transfer portal, a couple more screenshots to check out, man. The potential schools lining up for your player won't just be your random picks. There'll be schools that align with your player's performance and the key pitches that initially attracted them during their recruitment process. This adds an authentic layer of strategy and realism, making every decision meaningful and tailored to your unique journey. The transfer portal keeps your experience fresh, allowing you to find the perfect fit for your playstyle or craft the epic story you want to tell. Whether you're looking to climb the ranks, find a team that complements your skills, or simply shake things up, the transfer portal offers you the opportunity to reshape your journey. So it's definitely going to create all sorts of different wild things that you could do, depending on, different positions you're at. Or like I said, if you want to start at a smaller school and then, go to a bigger one and try to win a national championship once you get that overall up higher and, you feel more confident competing in the better conferences. But yeah, man, it'd be awesome to show some love to some of the smaller schools to start, some of our careers, play the first year or two, in the MAC or something, or Conference USA. It's good ball out there, man. So, it's awesome that, we can show some love to some of them schools. Start there for a year or two, then transfer out and try to, go win a natty at LSU or Michigan or Bama or Oregon or something like that, man. Texas. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Here we are. It takes you to the end of the journey here. It ends off, talking about, aiming for, different awards and, of course, wanting to, win conference championship, eventually the natty as well. They actually have some, position-specific awards in there, like the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award. Of course, that's, for quarterbacks, which in real life, we got the Davey O'Brien as well. They don't have all the real trophies in the game, unfortunately, but most of them are in there, I'd say. And then the ones that don't, I'm sure they still, found decent names for them. And regardless, every position will be covered. And, of course, the Heisman in there, that is, the main goal there and road to glory. Of course, if you're playing on the defensive side, a little bit tougher there, but if you're on the offensive side of the ball, you're definitely looking to win that Heisman Trophy, man. It'll definitely be interesting to see if you can lead your squad to that new 12-team playoff as well at the end and try to win a natty. How many can you win in your 4-year career? Just 1? Maybe 2? Who knows, man? Also, I'm not sure if they'll, give you the option if maybe after your junior year, will they even give you the option to then enter the draft then, or do you automatically have to play 4 years always? I'm not sure. We'll have to see that, test that out once we get the game next week, man. Super excited for that. And yeah, man, at the end, of course, we already knew this, but you can either just choose to retire from college football, or you can export your player to Madden and import it into the superstar mode there. So yeah, we already knew that, but might as well finish it off with that. But yeah, they actually said they're going to do one more deep dive over Team Builder. So I'm guessing that'll be in the next couple days. So, heck, the game comes out in a few, so we got to see this soon. So definitely excited to see some more stuff on Team Builder soon, man. But hope you enjoyed me going over this, article and blog post about all the Road to Glory stuff. I mean, heck, we speculated about a lot of this stuff like 3 to 4 weeks ago and ended up being right about a lot of it. And, it's just nice to get a lot more concrete details. And, it just sounds like, they put a lot more into this than I was expecting. So it's awesome to hear. Just got to, get over the fact that they don't have the high school in there, man. We'll be fine. We're good. I'm sure, as the years go on, this mode will become even better once again. And I'm sure, like I've said before in the past, I will find ways to have tons of fun with this, man. So if you're excited for this game, make sure you slap that like button for me. I appreciate it a lot. And subscribe to the channel if you are new. Plenty more coming soon. Have a nice day. Peace.